What is going on, guys? Budget Plainswalker here, and today I have a special request from a gentleman named Starshoot, who is fairly often in my streams. Has basically given me a challenge that he wants to use a deck at his local tournament, and the rules at his tournament are I cannot have rares and I cannot have mythics in my deck. He does want it to be somewhat competitive, and he also wants there to be a nice bit of synergy in the deck. We're going to keep it as cheap as possible because obviously we are budget, so we went on ahead and made this white-black kind of stall out, grindy, eventually take over and kill you with either life drain or bringing your own cards back against you, and we'll get into all the specifics of the deck here shortly. I do want to go on ahead and say, as of right now, for the entire deck that you see here, including sideboard, $23 is what it is priced at on TCG Player. That is who I usually get my cards from. This is not sponsored by them in any way, but I definitely recommend you checking them out. So, let's get into how the deck works and how you would want to use it against somebody else. We're going to start with our 1-drops. We only have 5 of them total, and that's going to be okay. This deck is meant to be grindy. Okay, it's not going to be a heavy hitter up and early. So we have 2 Sky Marchers Aspirant. They do have flying as long as you have a Sin, so late game they become a 2-1 flyer for 1, but at the beginning of the game they are just a simple 2-1 body that's definitely going to be able to take its fair share of jump blocking and take out anything decent size in the early game. Then we go down here to Vampire Neonate. 1-drop, 0-3, obviously he's going to be a blocker, but after you block with him, if you do not have a turn to play, you can go on ahead and pay 2, tap him, and each opponent loses 1 life while you gain 1 life, and that is a huge ability in this deck because that's actually going to keep you alive more than you know. We go over here to Ildanto Vanguard. I love the artwork on this, him just stabbing the dinosaur. So, a 1-1 for 2 doesn't sound all that good, however he does get +2/+0 when he attacks, and if you pay 4 mana, you can make him indestructible. And you can do that at any time, okay? It's instant speed. So if you go for a block, somebody goes to burn him with a magma spray or something like that. If you need a creature, you can make him indestructible in response. You can keep your guy around. The only thing it doesn't protect you against is minus, so like -1, -2, something like that. So obviously something to keep in mind. Gifted Aetherborn is actually our 4th most expensive card in the deck. There is nothing that you can say that's bad about this card. It is a 2-drop, 2/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink. You need to take down that Carnage Tyrant. You need to take down that Galta. You need to take. This literally protects you from a Galta attacking you. You literally take off 5 whole damage, and that guy dies. So his trample was useless. You got hit for 7. Okay. In this deck, Lifelink is huge. So we have Legion's Lieutenant. Now this is our Vampire Lord. I will say it's a little ridiculous. When this card first came out, especially online, this was just huge. It was just huge. Everybody was running this with vampires, you know, as like their starter deck because, in my opinion, this deck just had more going for it than the Merfolk did. So 1 white, 1 black. You get +1/+1 for all your other vampires. We would have went along the lines of like Radiant Destiny and stuff as well, but again, no rares, no mythics, so it's very important for this deck. Squire's Devotion, this is mainly for the later game cards. You can use it as an early game, and if you do use it as an early game, popping it on this guy is not a bad idea. If you swing in, he will be a 4/2. You can go on ahead and make him indestructible, kill something off, and still lose no life technically because you're gaining the fort right back. So that is a huge advantage. It also makes a 1/1 vampire that has lifelink. Arterial Flow. Each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This entire deck is vampires, so getting one out to be able to use this is not going to be difficult at all. You do have your exile spells. Those guys right there are going to come in handy, especially against Plainswalkers and whatnot, so definitely keep these in mind. I do recommend running a 3 and 3 of each. Call to the Feast. This can be adjusted if you feel like you need to run like another Arterial Flow or even another Legion Lieutenant. But being able to create 3/1/1 vampires that can eventually become, like 2/2s or 3/3s, that is a good card, right? For 4 mana, that's not bad. So then we step over into our late game, the cards that are meant to really seal out the win for us. We have Epicure of Blood. It is a 5 mana 4/4, so that is a bit of a downside. However, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. And it happens on each trigger, guys. So, let's say I've got Eldritch Reborn. That's going to proc at the beginning of the turn. I'm going to get back one of their cards that has, or I'll get back Vampire Sovereign. We'll go with that. There's a battlefield, target opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life. That'll trigger. You'll gain the 3. Then they're going to lose another 1. Then you go into combat. You swing in with your Gifted Aetherborn. They're going to lose 2. Then they lose another 1 because of Epicure of Blood. Then you tap Vampire Neonate. So then you go on ahead and make them lose 2 and you gain 1. This card in this deck is all about advantage. And as much as like a meaningless card as it looks, it's actually a really huge card in this deck. And this guy plus this guy, you can literally shut out a game with just defending yourself. So very important there. We already seen what Vampire Sovereign can do. 5-drop, 3/4 flyer, but the 3/3 is definitely nice. Then we go into Regal Bloodlord. At the beginning of each end step, if you've gained life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. I can't really speak today, can I? He is only a 2/4, but he is meant to flood your field. And if you use your Vampire Neonates intelligently by tapping 2 at the end of their turn, or because if I remember right, this does say in each end step, you can go on ahead and make a ton of bat tokens, 2 per round essentially, and that's going to help you out as well. Eldritch Reborn. I love this card. 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 I have loved this card ever since I've seen it. So it's 5 mana. It is a saga. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or Plainswalker. That's the moment that you play this card that activates. Okay, the moment it hits the battlefield. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, right after your draw step, each opponent has to discard a card. Okay, so far you've gotten 2 things off the board for 1 card. But now here's where it gets like just beautiful. After your second draw step of having this card out, you can put target creature or Plainswalker card from a graveyard into play under your control. That is huge. You have any idea how much fun it is to take a Teferi and just pop it on your field and be like, ta-da! So be smart about what you pick, and this can be from any graveyard, okay? So you or your opponents, make sure that you understand that card. Because if they have a huge creature in their grave, like let's say that, we'll go back to that Galta, right? You killed him with that Gifted Aetherborn. You get back that Galta with this Eldritch Reborn, now you have a 12/12 that they have to deal with. Lands-wise, we've got 5 plains and 6 swamps, 3 Forsaken Sanctuaries, 3 If Near Dead lands, which are good to kill or minimize threats, and 2 Memorial to Follies. So we can get back our creatures if we need it. This is a huge card to get back, especially with Memorial to Folly. I don't recommend getting it back with Eldritch Reborn unless you're in dire straits. Over here in the sideboard, we have 3 cast downs and 3 Moment of Cravings. That's definitely going to stop against any kind of aggro. We have 2 Ruin Rats. That's going to be good against the mid-range decks. You can also get rid of any kind of Godfarrow's Gift or stuff like that with it. Or even if you're going against black-blue, this isn't a bad card to put in. 2 mana, toss it out there. When you go on ahead and block with it, like you block their Champion of Wits, you exile their Champion of Wits. They don't get that added ability to bring back later on, so you are lowering their effectiveness. Sovereign's Bite, -3/+3 for you. It's a nice card all in all. We would have put it in the deck normally, however, what we have, I've tested it, I've played with it a nice bit. I've played 4 games, and each one of the 4 games I have won. So that's a major bonus to it. Vicious Offering. This is against your Lyras. This is against your Hazarats. This is against like the creatures that normally can't be killed or are really hard to kill. So that's going to help for that. And then Doomfall, if you're going against control, being able to take that card out of their hand, whether it be like the Teferi or the Scarab God, and have it exiled, is going to help you tenfold. Tenfold. So, hopefully you get to take this deck, you get to run with it. Oh crap, there's more. I'm sorry, there's more. There's also 2 Field of Ruins and 3 Unclaimed Territories. With this, obviously, you're picking vampires, and this is to get their Search for Escantas after it's flipped off the field. If your opponent's getting kind of mana screwed or something, you can play this and really mess up their mana even more. So this is going to help you in the end. But hopefully this works out for you, Starshoot. You know, I did the best that I could with what I was given. Like I said, $23, and that's with sideboard. That's shipped and everything, again, through tcgplayer.com. I don't really think there's anything more I can get into it. Obviously, I'll be testing this deck out a nice bit more. We will be showing it off during our streams, so if you want to and you haven't, check out Budget Plainswalker on Twitch. Give a follow so you know when I'm going live. And I will be playing some of this, as well as a couple of the other homebrews that we've been going with, which I'd love to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek at, but I'm perfecting the mana bases and getting everything set up, so we can't do it just yet. If you enjoyed the video, down at the bottom right down there, go ahead and click subscribe. It definitely helps me out, and it is very, very much appreciated. Past that, I don't really think there's anything more to talk about. This pretty much covers it, so there we have it. Let me know what your feedback is. If there's anything you would change, now remember there are no rares and no mythics in the deck, we can get that worked on. So, much appreciated, and you guys take care and have a good one.